ini musiknya PSG ya?
Iya dong.
Yang milih Prof Regina?
Iya dong. Iya dong.
Ya boleh lah, nggak apa-apa lah.
Ini pantauan YouTube-nya udah oke sih, Mas.
Ya? Oh ya udah.
Iya dong.
Yang milih Prof Regina?
Iya dong. Iya dong.
Ya boleh lah, nggak apa-apa lah.
Kok di tempat saya suaranya delay ya, Dok? Udah oke sih, Mas.
Ya? Oh ya udah.
Iya dong.
Yang milih Prof Regina?
Iya dong. Iya dong.
Ya boleh lah, nggak apa-apa lah.
Kok di tempat saya suaranya delay ya, Dok? Udah oke sih, Mas.
Ya? Oh ya udah.
Iya
Oh,
dong.
ini rekaman YouTube. Yang milih Prof Regina?
Iya dong. Iya dong.
Ya boleh lah, nggak apa-apa lah.
Kok di tempat saya suaranya delay ya, Dok? Udah oke sih, Mas.
Ya? Oh ya udah.
Iya
Oh,
dong.
ini rekaman YouTube. Yang milih Prof Regina?
Iya dong. Iya dong.
Boleh lah, nggak apa-apa lah.
Kok di tempat saya suaranya delay ya, Dok? Udah oke sih, Mas.
Ya? Oh ya udah.
Iya
Oh,
dong.
ini rekaman YouTube. Yang milih Prof Regina?
Iya dong. Iya dong.
Boleh lah, nggak apa-apa lah.
Kok di tempat saya suaranya delay ya, Dok? Udah oke sih, Mas.
Ya? Oh ya udah. Mas Dodi,
Oke.
ya. Kok apa suaranya tadi berulang-ulang ya, Mas?
Soalnya tadi saya juga mantau di YouTube-nya, Dok. Mohon
Oh,
untuk ada
suara
person
YouTube-nya.
sendiri untuk yang memantau di YouTube, nggih.
Gimana, Mas?
Mohon ada yang memantau di YouTube selain saya.
Oh iya, siapa ya Kiki yang memantau di
Nggak
YouTube?
apa-apa, Dokter.
Kiki ya?
Iya.
Ya, oke. Mas, tadi suaranya gendingnya kekencengan ya, Mas?
Oh, nggih, siap. Ada lagi yang lain?
Enggak, coba diputar lagi, Mas. Nah, ya segini pas, Mas.
Ya, di YouTube aman, nggih.
Gimana, Mas?
Yang di YouTube aman, nggih.
Oh, Kiki pantau yang di YouTube, Ki.
Iya, sebentar, Dok. Baru mau masang headset 2.
Oh ya. Telingamu berapa, Ki? Kok headsetnya 2?
4, Dok.
Oh, ya hebat.
Yang di YouTube agak delay sedikit.
Ya, nggak apa-apa ya, itu kata Mas Dodi, di YouTube suara dan tampilan memang delay. Oh ya, Pak, itu kata IT-nya RDM pasti gitu.
Iya, Dok.
Untuk sesi kali ini yang mau share siapa saja? Monggo bisa dicoba.
Cuma dari Budi, Mas.
Saya cuma share ini aja kok, PowerPoint kok, nggak Nanti mungkin suara di pas penyerahan sertifikat aja. Insya Allah bisa.
Oh, ya siap. Mau dicoba dulu?
Ya boleh Mas.
Oke, ini sudah di slideshow ya.
Udah Mas, memang tak buat apa namanya browse by individual.
Oke, coba dipindah slide. Oke, bisa aman.
Aman ya.
Oke.
Thank you Mas.
Ki, Dita kok belum masuk ya? Udah mau 2:30. Prof. Dagmar jadi 2:30 kan ya?
Baru dandan Dok, sekedap.
Ya ampun, aku tadi udah ketemu, udah cantik, udah seksi padahal.
Kan habis sholat Dok.
Oh
Dandan
gitu.
dulu.
Ya, ya. Prof. Dagmar 2:30 kan ya?
Sepertinya Dok. Mbak Iva, cek-cek kamera Mbak Iva. Udah cantik belum?
Cek aman.
Ya, oke, dicek. Soalnya tadi
Aman,
yang
Mbak
sesi
Iva.
pagi,
Oke.
yang sesi pagi Ananto nampak seperti mutan.
Kamu jahara Mbak.
Tapi terus udah bisa, makanya dicoba dulu screen-nya. Ini
Oh.
Prof. Dagmar juga dikirim kan ya, Fa?
Oh, udah ditanyain, beliau pengen enggak pakai Mbak. Pengen
gitu.
enggak kerso. Jadi pengen, dia bilang I'm already in my office house katanya gitu. Apa sih istilahnya kemarin gue? Udah
Oh, ya,
ditawarkan. Enggak apa-apa ya?
Ya, nggak apa-apa, nggak apa-apa.
Oke.
Sugeng siang, Prof. Regina.
Masih connecting audionya Dok.
Oh iya.
Mbak, ini yang dosen PSHG lain udah jadi co-host juga atau belum, Mbak Rin? Mbak Rina. Halo?
Yang bisa jadikan co-host ya, berarti Mas Dodi ya, Mas?
Tidak, siapa yang belum saya jadikan co-host?
Ini Mas Vinsa Tisnasari.
Oh ya,
Leni
yang lain,
Pratiwi.
untuk yang lain di rename nggih. Soalnya
Oh
nggak ada
ya,
tulisannya.
nggih Mas. Sama Prof Regina nggih Mas.
Siap.
Selamat siang Dokter Dita.
Selamat siang, tes.
Ya.
Suara jelas?
Jelas.
Oke.
Background dinyalakan aja videonya.
Sudah?
Ya, oke, udah. Tinggal nunggu Prof Dagmar ya berarti.
Yes.
Yes. Prof Dagmar already joined with us.
Good afternoon, Prof. Dagmar. Good morning,
Mbak Dita.
Ya.
Nanti startnya di 14.50 apa tetap 15?
14.50 kan ini dulu kan? Join apa namanya?
Dibiarkan masuk
masukin.
itu semua.
Ya.
Tetap jam 15 berarti ya.
Ya.
Thank you.
Good morning, Prof. Dagmar. Could you kindly check your voice and also check your screen? Mas Dodi mungkin bisa dikecilkan dulu ininya, di off-kan dulu screen-nya. Good morning, Prof. Dagmar. Could you hear me? Could you hear my voice, Prof. Dagmar?
Edita, this is Dagmar.
Yeah, I see. Okay. So we are all of us are the committee, so we haven't started the meeting. So would you mind to check your voice whether your voice is loud enough.
Dear Dita, this is Dagmar. Can you
Okay,
please-
good. And then your screen, I mean your slides.
Yes, moment.
Hi.
I have everything prepared. Not yet prepared because I was launching the Zoom and then it opens a page. So the only page I have up here, I'll do it presenter mode now. Wait a sec. Share the screen. Share. This is it.
Okay.
Do you see it?
Yes, clearly.
The most important is that you mention to or put also in the chat this code number.
Okay.
So 43, they have to go to menti.com.
Yep.
And the code 4391469.
Okay. Maybe Mbak Budi or Rizky would like to help us to put it in the chat box.
I will
So,
do. Okay.
yeah,
Now
okay.
already, or because I'm not sure if people can see it.
Yeah. See, we can see it clearly.
Okay. No. I'm not sure. Sec. The Zoom. Where is the Zoom? Okay. I stop sharing. Here is the chat.
I see. Thank you very much, Prof. Dagmar.
Thank you.
Yeah. Could you once again present your slide and we try to move it to another slide?
Yes, but then you have to put in your name because otherwise it doesn't run on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if one of you just try it.
Yeah.
I'll share my screen.
Okay.
It needs to be there then. Because normally you see them popping up.
Yeah, already?
Yeah. There it is. Yeah, sorry. There it is. Sorry, I share my screen again. It is. So dentist, and then we. Oh yeah, I have to do it here. So yeah, I can do that. See?
See. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Do I need to stop sharing?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Please, Dita, please check because I put it in the chat.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the new people coming into the Zoom, if they
Yeah.
still can see the old chat.
Okay. We will do it.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm not sure. So maybe sometimes we have to re-put it in the chat.
Okay. The committee will do it for you, Dagmar. Don't worry.
Okay, perfect.
Ada lagi yang mau dicoba? Teman-teman yang lain? Mungkin panitia?
Kayaknya nggak ada ya, Dit, itu aja.
Sudah ya, Dokter Rina ya? Sudah ya?
Ya. Nanti undian yang muter Fona ya?
Mbak Fona sudah ada ya di sini? Mbak Fona, halo.
Sudah. Mas Dodi, Mbak Fona tolong dijadikan co-host ya.
Dokter, saya ada.
Ya, oke. Ya, Mas Dodi. Oh ya, sudah. Oke, makasih.
Sip. So Dagmar, sometimes I will use bahasa, I mean Indonesian language, to make clarifications to participants. I'm sorry if you couldn't catch it. Mungkin ada lagi, nggak ada?
No, no worries. As long as it's not bad talking about me, but don't mind.
For sure not. Professor Regina, do you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Mungkin saya bisa dijadikan co-host juga. Mas Dodi.
Itu kalau Mbak Fona nyoba uber-uber sih, piye mumpung urungan yang ngomong. Oh, belum ada?
Nyun sewu, Prof. Kan
Ya,
tadi namanya,
Belum masuk
nama
ya.
pesertanya nanti kan berdasarkan presensi, ya.
Ya, tak pikir presensi tadi
Presensinya
pagi.
belum.
Atau mau lagi? Aku manut mau pakai presensi yang mana?
Berarti presensi yang tadi ya?
Kalau saya sih senangnya yang sekarang ini dibuat lagi, jadi lebih fair. Jadi yang betul-betul motivasi hari sore ini ikut, bukan tadi pagi ikut terus tiba-tiba tinggal sore hanya mau ikut poster sama ini, kan nggak enak.
Ya, kalau begitu Mbak Fona harus menunggu hasil presensi dulu, Prof. Baru bisa membuat will-nya.
Wheel of Fortune. Hello, Dagmar. How are you today?
I'm good, and you?
Good. Is it cold there? Is it very cold there?
Not yet, but we expect this Saturday evening it will start be very extremely cold, minus 10, and we will get snow.
Oh, yep. Last year when I celebrate the New Year's at Beijing, it was minus 13, minus 13.
My.
Yes, very cool.
Yeah, and we had a very mild winter till so far, but they expect wind from the east, what brings cold weather from Siberia.
Yeah.
And that will bring, and they expect a lot of snow, what is not common.
Yeah.
So it's like when you have these heavy winds once in a while, we have once in a while snow, but it's not common that we have some. They expect 20 up to 30 centimeters of snow.
Oh.
And very cold. So I have a farm together with my husband, and all the cattle, they are in the barns, but all the tubes for where the water comes will be frozen. So we need to, after this lecture, I will help him out to protect all the tubes. To put stuff on it, that it will be isolated. Because if it gets frozen, the water expands, and the tubes are broken, and the cattle can't get any drink. So we need to prepare that.
Yeah.
Farmer's life.
So last year at the end of February, my daughter-in-law, she left Amsterdam back to Indonesia actually just for delivery her baby. But then on March we have COVID, right? Pandemic. Then so up to now, she still stay here. She couldn't back to Amsterdam yet.
No. It's the full world is closed for a year now. I'm not working clinically anymore. I stopped 3 years ago, and I teach clinically at ACTA at the moment. So that's not in my portfolio at the moment. So since March, I have been 5 times, 5 mornings at ACTA, and I'm not allowed to come.
Oh.
This is my room for a year almost. I do everything online with all my students, my lectures, my supervising. I do everything online because it's simply, we are not allowed to. All schools in the Netherlands are closed. So primary schools, high schools, but also the universities. The dental school is open because the dental school also treat patients. That's the only reason they have an exception.
Yeah.
And there is, I think, normally we have, our clinic at the school is that we have, the chairs are placed in a circle. So all feet are in the, so we have around 6 in a circle, and normally we use 6 chairs, but now we are not allowed. So we only are allowed to use 3 chairs. So there must be one in the middle because of the aerosols.
Yeah.
So they work approximately 40%.
Oh, yeah, I could understand with this situation. This is really make us difficult.
Yeah, and the problem is that students really wants to proceed, but they cannot make their hours.
And see it really, yeah.
And we have at the moment as well that we need to be inside your house at 9 o'clock in the night. You're not allowed to go out your house after 9.
After 9.
After 9.
How about the store? What time they will?
Everything is closed. Everything is closed after 9.
Lockdown now.
Yeah, it's a serious lockdown. So you are only allowed to travel if you are a nurse, a doctor, fireman, policeman. You know, if you have a primary position.
Yep.
And your employee needs to write a declaration for it. So normally the school was, because the school could not see so many patients, they did evenings as well. But students need to go to their home and be their home at 9.
At 9.
And the cleaning lady needs to have everything cleaned and go home. So they close it now at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
It's a hustle. We hope that will finish the 1st of March. But I just had a chat with Dita. We don't have the vaccine is very difficult up here. We have European regulations and we have Dutch regulations.
Yeah.
So only AstraZeneca and Pfizer are accepted yet. Yeah, Pfizer and AstraZeneca. But
how about the Moderna?
Moderna. These 3 are accepted. One is not arrived yet. One is not arrived. I always mixed up Moderna and Zeneca. One is not arrived. So actually, we only had mainly Pfizer. And the people who are vaccinated are only the people who work at the ICU, so nurses and doctors at ICU, and nurses and doctors at emergency care. And people on the ambulance. And now they start to vaccinate the people of 90 and older.
Older, yeah.
But only those who can move to the hospital themselves.
I see.
So if you are in a house, you're not, and they go now to the houses. But there is no vaccine. The infrastructure in the Netherlands was not optimal, to say it nicely. But the other thing is that there is no vaccine, so they're waiting for doses. And Pfizer, normally out of one glass, you can take 5, but they were very nice doing it, and then could take 5.5 out of it. And now Pfizer says, okay, if you do this, you get less, because in the contract is not the number of bottles, but the number of doses, and you take more doses out of it. So they screw us up.
I see. Prof. Regina and Prof.
Yeah.
Dagmar, sorry to interrupt.
Yep,
We will
sure.
start to admit the
Yeah,
the
sure.
participants. So we will start the session very soon.
Okay.
Mungkin bisa ditampilkan lagunya, back sound-nya, Mas Dodi atau
Sudah kena ngantuk?
sampun disiapkan, Prof.
Selamat sore. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sebelum memulai acara sore ini, saya informasikan bahwa e-sertifikat akan diberikan apabila peserta mengisi post-test di akhir seminar online dia series dengan nilai minimal 70. Untuk itu, peserta diharapkan dapat mengikuti seluruh rangkaian seminar dengan seksama. Memohon pada seluruh peserta untuk menggunakan nama Zoom sesuai dengan nama lengkap saat mendaftar, dan selama pemaparan, mikrofon seluruh peserta akan dikondisikan mute oleh panitia. Diharapkan peserta tidak mengaktifkan fitur audio demi kenyamanan dan kelancaran acara. Pada saat sesi tanya-jawab, peserta yang ingin bertanya dapat menggunakan fitur raise hand. Kemudian setelah dipersilahkan oleh moderator, peserta baru dapat mengaktifkan fitur audio dan bertanya langsung kepada pembicara. Atau peserta juga bisa menulis pertanyaan pada kolom chat. Sedikit informasi saya sampaikan bahwa di akhir acara nanti akan ada banyak door prize menarik, mulai dari mug cantik sampai gift card senilai dari Superindo senilai ratusan ribu rupiah, persembahan dari BTN, BNI, Bank Mandiri, dan program studi higiene Gigi. Oleh karena itu, tetap stay tune hingga akhir sesi 2 online dia series sore hari ini. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is such an honor to be your master of ceremony in this afternoon lecture. My name is Ifah Mardiah. I would like to welcome every one of you in this online DS series session 2. This is an online scientific seminar organized by Faculty of Dentistry Universitas Gadjah Mada in order to commemorate our faculty's 73rd anniversary. And in this very good afternoon, I would like to say welcome to all distinguished guests, the Dean, Vice Deans, Professors, and Lecturers of Faculty of Dentistry Universitas Gadjah Mada, our Honorable Speaker, Professor Dagmar Elslot from University of Amsterdam, Netherlands, and all participants. Welcome to our second online DS series. Without further delay, we are going to start our lecture session, and for that, we would like to invite our Honorable Chairperson, Dr. Elastria Widita, Master of Science, PhD. Before giving the stage to her, I would like to tell you who is the chair of this session. Dr. Elastria Widita is a staff of Dental Hygiene Program, Faculty of Dentistry, Universitas Gadjah Mada, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Her research interest is in the field of preventive dentistry, gerodontology, clinical epidemiology, oral health and systemic condition, bioethics, and health law. She is also the head of Administration, General and Human Resources Division of Dental Hospital Universitas Gadjah Mada. She earned her DDS degree in 2009 from the Faculty of Dentistry UGM, while in the same year she got her Master in Health Law at the Graduate School of the same university. After that, she got her PhD degree in 2020 from Niigata University, Japan. In 2010, she was contributing as one of young researchers for WHO Collaborating Center in Niigata University. And during the past 2 years, along with her academic activities, she is also actively involved as coordinator of internal quality assurance of our faculty and a lead team for accreditation in UGM's Dental Hospital. Okay, Dr. Dita, please, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much for introducing me, Dr. Eva. Very good afternoon to all participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good morning to Professor Dagmar. Since we are in a 6 hour ahead from Amsterdam. First of all, I would like to present my highest gratitude to the committee that have been appointed me to accompany very special speaker this afternoon. Before starting her presentations, I would like to present her outstanding CV. Maybe one of the committee would like to help to present the slides. Professor Dagmar Elslot, coming from the University of Amsterdam, in the Netherlands. She got her PhD in ACTA, University of Amsterdam in 2015. She has two type of the master degree The first one in the field of education and the other in the evidence-based practice. From the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics. Both degree were from the same university, University of Amsterdam. Well, anyway, she is also an alumni from the in Holland, Amsterdam, and from Hogeschool of Utrecht in the field of dental hygiene. For the working experience, she is now working as a lecturer and researcher in the Department of Periodontology and Oral Radiology in the University of Amsterdam and started from 2020. She has been a professor in oral preventions in the same department and university. And now she is the associate editor of International Journal of the Dental Hygiene. Her expertise in doing systematic reviews, clinical research, oral hygiene or periodontology. Her research interests are efficacy and safety in oral hygiene products, treatment and prevention of dental plaque or periodontal diseases, and also in the research of methodology. She published more than 100 scientific articles, and because her outstanding achievement in the dental research, she received Young Investigator Award from the International Associations for Dental Research in 2019. Congratulations, Prof. Dagmar. So before asking Prof. Dagmar to deliver her presentations, I would like to show you why these afternoon sessions matter for us in Indonesia. So as you may see in this slide, that based on the data of Indonesian basic health survey in 2018, 88.8% of Indonesians suffer from caries, with on average 6 teeth affected in the very young age group, while increased one number, 7 teeth affected among among age more than 5 years old. These worse conditions might be correlated with bad oral habit. Nearly more than half of the populations do self-medications. Almost 98% of the population do not brush properly. 95% never visit the dentist. That's why we asked Professor Dagmar to share her valuable knowledge to recharge our knowledge as well as skills to do evidence-based approach for preventing oral diseases, particularly dental caries and periodontal disease. Prof. Dagmar, you will have an hour session of lecture and discussions. And for all participants, I would like to inform you that Prof. Dagmar would like to do discussions during her presentations instead of after her presentations. So to begin her lecture, I would like kindly remind you that please turn off your microphone, and later on, if you would like to ask some questions or need to answer Prof. Dagmar questions, please use raise hand button to directly ask Professor Dagmar, or you may use the chat box to write down your queries regarding her presentations. So, Prof. Dagmar, to waste no more time, I would like to give the screen to you. Please, Prof. Dagmar.
Dear Dita, thank you very much. Dear listeners, I'm so super honored that on your Friday afternoon, you take the time to come to this lecture. I would like to express my thanks in particular to the organization committee who invite me. I'm very honored with it. The good thing of working from home from a distance that we get more used to this technology of distance learning. I would also like to welcome all people from the school and the dean and the vice deans Thank you for the invitation and the honor that you visit this lecture. In particular, Dita again, because she organized everything around me. What I have made, because after I just told the organization that I don't have a clinical position at the university in Amsterdam. I work totally remote from home. So what you see, this is my environment now since the COVID pandemic came across the world. I do a lot of Zooms with my students and also for some associations from some other universities. And what I found out is that people get a bit bored after all the Zoom lectures we have. So what I prepared for you is a little quiz where we can work together through some nice studies we have run from our side or which are published in the literature. If you want to join the quiz, what I think is nice because that we get a kind of interactive learning. I put it in the chat already. Go to menti.com and use a certain code. I will start sharing my screen so you can join us. And then I will present from there on. So in order to sign in, please sign in the school you work in, and we have at least a nice overview where we are. And then we can also see how many people are in the room, more or less. Dita, can you please enlighten me how many people are in, because that's something I cannot see, how many are in the...
we have 179 participants here.
Wow, so people just now start to open their mobile phones. And so let's wait at about 100 or in the menti.com. Take a while. It is a live thing, so I run this online, but the reason I put this slide in that we can get a bit familiar with the system and that we know how long the delay is of logging in. The Gajah Mada University is very on top of it because the more people are logging in, you see the bigger the name comes from the same group of the same university. So that's nice. Yeah, now it goes quick.
Mungkin Bapak Ibu bisa menuju ke website menti.com dengan memasukkan kode 4391469. Sorry Dagmar, I repeat it in Bahasa.
Perfect. You did it much better than I do. That's perfect. So we need to have this slide costs the most time, and later on we get it will get quicker because people get used to it and they will see the next slide. So logging in is always a bit of a hassle. So we need to invest a bit of time. We will manage in the end, no worries. So what was told, if you have any question, feel free to ask it. You can ask it in the chat. You can ask it by raising the hand or sending a text to Dita, because that's also an option. And she will ask the question to me if you doesn't dare to do it. And that was the reason I thought, okay, let's do it more interactive than just sending out a message to you. So after the whole thing, I'm more than open to help with any questions that are still there. There is a question, or there is something in the chat happening. Okay, oh, someone put it in Bahasa. Very good, thank you. It's the co-host buddy. Julita puts her hands up, but that is for maybe later or...
Kodenya tidak dengan spasi. Dr. Yulita raise hand, bagaimana dok?
$95. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. We reached 100. Okay, perfect. Let's move on because that's worth of going on. Okay, thank you for logging in with such an enormous group of people. You can still log in, but I will move on my next slide. When I was asked, can you please tell something about the evidence-based approach for oral disease prevention for the oral event? I thought, okay, let's make it a bit more interactive than I just spread out the word we have. I work at the University of Amsterdam, and we have to declare that we have a conflict of interest. I have run multiple clinical studies and mainly systematic reviews for the industry. So I have received research grants, smaller and bigger ones, from different companies. I have did some consultancy work. I did some talks for the industry where the money went to the university. I'm a shareholder of Didas. I will tell you later on what Didas is. And I have a boyfriend, and that's important with a shareholder. And I do quite some voluntary work for the Dental Hygienist Association in the Netherlands, worldwide, in the European Federation, but also for the Periodontology Association here in the Netherlands, and for the International Association of Dental Research. What I told you, I have stocks in Didas, together with my boyfriend, Dirk Itman. We have a dairy farm, so the stocks are not related to my work in the dental field. The next question I would like to have, because now you got to know me a bit, people, Dita told me about my curriculum vitae. I'm very interested how what is the audience I'm facing today? So my first question to you is, what is your profession? Are you a dentist? Are you a hygienist? Do you have maybe another profession? Or you are still a student of one of the two very nice dental professions we have in the world? Of course, we have also dental nurses and prophylax nurses, also beautiful professions. There was one hygienist. I love to know who it is, but it is anonymous, so you don't have to reveal yourself, but very nice. And we have quite some students. Cool, we have 3 hygienists now, and we have some students. I think for students, it's a very nice opportunity to get to know already what the profession is done. I really appreciate that the university take this opportunity for them to know and to collaborate with dentists who are already working in the field. I think that needs to be mentioned as well, because the profession and the students needs to work together. And that's not always there. So I think that's very important to mention, that it's done at your school. What I think it really needs to say that it's a good thing what happens. Okay, we see that the majority is dentists. There are some hygienists and there are some students, and there was one other person. So let's move on. I just had a small discussion with the organization, and the organization, what I got to know that in Indonesia, you as dental professionals start to get vaccinated. And I know that there are also professionals from other countries logging in. And I'm wondering, just for my own interest, did you had your COVID vaccination? Did you had it fully, or had you only the first dose, if it was a 2-dose thing, or not yet, or I don't want a vaccine? What is also a realistic option? The reason I ask you this is, here in the Netherlands, we have accepted now 3 vaccines, and only the ICU nurses and doctors are vaccinated, and the emergency people are vaccinated, and they're working on the elderly at the moment. But dentistry is considered, so dentists and hygienists are considered as healthcare workers, but the healthcare workers are not aligned for vaccination in very short notice. They think, depending, the limitation at the moment is the vaccines. They don't have them anymore. They are running out. So, but the planning is that we will get vaccinated as dental professionals in June. So I think it's what you see up here, that say a good almost 45% of this group already is in the run of a vaccine. So they got at least the option to get the vaccine. I guess that the people who don't want to be vaccinated are have the option, but choose not so. But you see that you are doing pretty good when it comes to dental personnel who have vaccines, in compared to my own country, where none of the dentists is vaccinated, except a few, and that's only a handful, who work in the elderly houses or in the handicapped houses or in the hospital and working at the ICU at the hospital. So that's only a handful, and the rest we have to wait till June. So I'm happy to see that other countries organize some things better, and be proud on that as well. Okay, so what it works is, if you discuss about prevention, the things that we have actually are only we have for dental prevention. We have toothbrushes for patients. We can talk about dentifrices. We can talk about interdental devices and about mouthwashes. These are the devices that a person can buy in order to prevent themselves from periodontal disease. I like to focus on the first two in this meeting, because I think these are the two things that are the easiest to get, the cheapest to get, and the most used. So let's see what their efficacy is. We're gonna run a quiz. A quiz is always having a winner. We have stroopwafels, what are really typical Dutch cookies. If you are the winner, I will send a package of stroopwafels to you. And this is what I discussed with the organization. So if you become the winner, make yourself noticeable, because otherwise I cannot send it. The quiz works as follows. If you answer, the quicker answer, you got more points. So not if you, for instance, if you have everything good, but you are quicker, then you are the real winner. So that's something to keep in mind if you answer, but you need to pick the good answer, of course. Okay, let's go. So the first question comes from now. These are all the avatars. So everybody has his own avatars. We have over 100 in the quiz. So the quicker answer, get more points. What is the FDA standard daily oral advice for patients? So the Federation of Dentists International, is it 1 day, 2 minutes brushing with a fluoride toothpaste, 2 times a day, 2 minutes brushing with a fluoride toothpaste, 2 days with fluoride and a floss, or on the indication? you see only 63 people were able to vote, because you need to do it quite quick, huh? And what you see is that 27 people have the answer right. The advice from the Federation Dentist International at the moment is 2 times 2 minutes with a fluoride toothpaste and using once a day floss. And that's something you can see on their website. So they say you need to brush twice a day with a power or a manual toothbrush with fluoride and using floss at least once times after brushing. Of course, there is a whole discussion if you should floss. My own research did quite some research on floss, and what we see is that floss is not the most effective incidental tool when it comes to either removing plaque or obtaining healthy gingiva. And what is shown as well from Professor Hujuel in 2006 already, floss is also not even reducing the number of cavities. And that has to do that self-flossing very often fails. So what you see is that if you want to instruct floss, the most important thing is that you instruct your patients flossing on such a high level that it's almost on a professional level. And what we have learned from the Professor Hujuel study is that only floss was effective in reducing interproximal caries when it was performed on schools. These were studies from the 70s where hygienists were flossing the children 5 days a week on schools, so they were highly effective flossed. But also these children were for low socioeconomic classes and had low or none fluoride exposure, and most probably a high sugar diet. So only flossing from a high quality point of view may be effective. So for me, it's always a bit frustrating that the FDI is still recommend floss very well. What you see is that, for example, the FDA, the Federation Food and Drugs of the United States of America, they removed flossing from their daily advice. Okay, what you see is that if you go and have a look on the recommendations from the European Federation of Periodontology, they say brush twice a day with a fluoride dentifrice. They don't put a time in it, because what we know as dental professionals, these 2 minutes are often not enough to remove the plaque well. We need more time than the 2 minutes. So the Federation of Periodontology says brush twice a day. And they also say use something incidentally. And they don't give any advice to floss. If you look into the details of their recommendations is mainly based on incidental brushes, but it's a periodontology organization, so they are more in favor of incidental brushes, as the science shows that incidental brushes removes the most plaque. And it even can establish a bit of pocket reduction when you do it as supportive to initial therapy. So the European Association of Periodontology gave this as their basic advice. If we take first brushing under the loop, let's see what happens. The first question is, question 2. I don't know what happened there. Before brushing, wetting a toothbrush. So contributes to more plaque removal, less plaque removal, does not matter regarding plaque removal, or depends on the toothbrush you use. It's very often a recommendation that you should wetten your toothbrush before you start brushing. And it doesn't matter. What has the idea behind wetting a toothbrush was that you wetten your toothbrush and the brush get a bit more flexible, and based on that, because the filaments of the brush became a bit more flexible, that you should remove more plaque. What we have done with a PhD student of me, Evelien van der Sluis, who's actually a hygienist as well, and a clinical epidemiologist, what we did, we randomized a group. So we randomized one group who wettens the toothbrush and the other group who did not wetten the toothbrush. And we had a look on plaque removal. Those patients did not brush for 48 hours. So they had a lot of plaque, and then we removed, then they give them one brushing exercise. And what we saw that it doesn't matter if you brush, if you wetten your toothbrush before brushing. So this is an advice what should not be given. So put more effort in establishing the quality of the brushing instead of giving an advice that does not contribute. The next question. Rinse with water before brushing contributes more to plaque removal, less to plaque removal. It does not have an effect or no idea. That can be also a realistic answer. I see that already 77 people are really putting effort in order to vote on time. The idea was a bit similar to wetting your toothbrush. If you should rinse with water before toothbrushing, that the dental plaque wettens and became a bit weaker. So a lot of people worldwide are given the advice to rinse with water before they brush. But what we did, and with the same PhD student in another study, we randomized a group rinsing before brushing and a group not rinsing. There were people who did not brush for 48 hours, so they had a lot of plaque. And then we did a single brushing exercise. And we indeed saw that it doesn't make any effect if you rinse with water before your brushes. So it will not loosen the plaque or away. So it's also an advice what you should not have to give. What is very nice, of course. If it comes to brushing order, what is the most effective? Should you use lingually starting, buccally starting, occlusal starting, or it does not matter? This is always a big discussion, in particular among hygienists, because hygienists are very particular in these kind of advices. I'm super proud. I did this in the Netherlands and I did this in Belgium, and you see that they put a lot of effort to start the patient start brushing lingually. But indeed, it doesn't matter. What happens is that the idea is, and that's a very normal recommendation from dental professionals here in Western society, that they say, please start lingually. Because lingually there is the tongue, there is more plaque up there, so it's more difficult to brush there. So they advise us very often to start lingually first. But actually what you see, we randomized, it's also from Evelien's her studies, is that we randomized groups that starting buccally or lingually, and what we saw, it doesn't matter. I need to be honest that we really supervise the brushing very well. They have 15 seconds per quadrant per buccal or lingual side. So we really tested it on time, and then it doesn't matter. What we should test in the future, if this hypothesis that lingually is more difficult and lingually contains more plaque, it would be of interest if we say to patients only start lingually or start buccally and let them doing it without timing and supervising. Because it may be that if you start brushing during the brushing, your interest loses a bit, and that therefore it's less effective if the last part you're brushing. So that's maybe one of the reasons lingually can be of interest in the future. But if you supervise it very well, if people start brushing and using a timer or whatever, then you see that it does not matter at all. The next question. How much plaque is removed with one-time brushing during a manual toothbrush? Is that 42%, 45, 52%, 62%, or 72%? This is based on a systematic review where we evaluated all single brushing exercise done with a manual toothbrush. And what we get at, that's a study, it's published already in 2012. We found over 60 papers with over 200 experiments described with over 10,000 people included. And what we saw, if you let them brush one time and you measure how much plaque is removed with this one-time brushing, it's only on average 42%. Of course, there are people who brush less and there are people brushing more. But what we see that if only 42% is removed, over 50 is left. And I think what we can learn from this is that we need to put a lot of effort in order to enhance the brushing skills of our patients. So I wish it was 72%, but it is not. So I think we don't have to put time in wetting toothbrushes or rinses or that kind of advices, but we should put time and effort in enhance the dexterity of our patients and provide them information how to remove a plaque on a good way. And that is also telling that often the 2 minutes is not enough. Actually currently I'm running a trial with brushing 2 minutes compared to 3 minutes, and to show how much more plaque will be removed if you enhance the time. Based on the study, we found out that there are 3 manual toothbrushes. There are toothbrushes, the left picture you see, where the angles of the filaments are a bit crossed. We have toothbrushes who have different levels, multi-level filaments, and you have the standard regular toothbrush, which is called a flat trim toothbrush, where all the filaments are straight and on the same line, a very straightforward toothbrush. The question is, based on a sub-analysis of this single brushing exercise, which toothbrush brushes away the most plaque? Was that the cross-angle toothbrush? Was that the multi-level toothbrush? Was it the flat trim toothbrush? Or it doesn't matter? It's funny. I'm surprised that the majority of you suggested a multi-level toothbrush. That will not happen in Western society. Western society go for the flat trim toothbrush. Flat trim is the most recommended when it comes to professional organizations, in particular organizations like the American Dental Association, who has a whole program to be accepted and have a certain certificate. And then you have to always use a flat trim toothbrush. What we did in the sub-analysis, we analyzed if one of these 3 was most effective. And what you see that the most plaque is removed with angled filament toothbrushes. The next one was this multi-level toothbrush, and the latest, so the least plaque removed, was with a flat trim. While this flat trim is most accepted, at least in Western society. So currently I'm doing with a student of me, the combination comparing angled toothbrushes to a flat trim toothbrush, because that's my main interest, because these were the ultimates, the one who is more or less considered as the benchmark, and the ones who was considered as more like a commercial trick. That's the same said about the multi-level filaments. I personally think that if you see the science that you can brush with every brush in the end, but the angled filaments and the multi-leveled are slightly more effective than the flat film. I'm not sure if this is statistical significant. That's what I would need to find out. And maybe more important, if this statistical significance is also clinical relevant. So in the end, I think these are nice things to consider. Okay, let's have a look on the leaderboard. Sino, perfect, you are on top. Lenny, you are at least on the scoreboard. On the bottom, take your time. Novia, take your time. Answer quick and make the good answers, and please go up a bit more. Sino, keep your first position in. Okay, one of the questions that's very often asked to me, but also to dental care professionals is, if you brush your teeth and you have your toothbrush get a bit worn, when do you need to change your toothbrush? Every 3 months, every 4 months, if the filaments are not aligned, or if the filaments get shorter? What you see that the average dental association, but also the dental producers like toothbrush companies, they always say 3 months, some 4 months, but the majority say 3 months. Well, we did some studies, and what we saw that it's very important to know about the filaments. What you can do is, if you studied worn of toothbrushes, there is a comforti wear index. So 0 is that they are exactly aligned how they were. And you see, this is based on the flat frame toothbrush. That's another thing to consider. This is the less effective toothbrush from 2 questions ahead. You see the 0, it's very aligned. Score 1, you got some filaments that are a bit out of the line. Score 2, you see really that they are getting out of the line from 2 sides. Score 3, you see they are meshed up. And score 4 is, oh, maybe they did also the sink with it or whatever. They are really worn out. And based on this index, we run studies. We run after 3 months, how does a toothbrush like? The majority of the toothbrushes after 3 months look we can see them after 3 months from the full screen, so from 0 up to 4. What we also have seen from research, that the majority is between score 2 and 3. What we also have learned from research, if we differentiate between score 2 and 3, that based on score 3, the toothbrush get less effective. So that's one of the reasons that the 3 months comes from the fact that after 3 months, a lot of toothbrushes tend to go through score 3, but also that after brushing with score 3 toothbrush, you remove less plaque. So I think we should, as dental care professionals, put more effort in our patients to teach them not to press hard and not to chew on it. And don't think people don't chew on their toothbrush. If you ask them to bring their toothbrush and look at the back of the toothbrush, you see little holes in it. That doesn't come from brushing in the cheek. That comes from the fact that they chew on it. And it's just a habit. If they start waiting, or they watch on their phone during brushing, if they get a bit distracted, they start to chew on it. It's a mental thing what happens. And that's something we see very often with the toothbrushes we have collected after 3 months use. And we counted how many holes are on the toothbrush, that people really start to chew on it. Because if you just solely brushing buccally and lingually, it's very difficult to have little holes on the back of the toothbrush. So this is some information about how a toothbrush is used in practice. Please ask your patient, bring your toothbrush and have a look not only on the filaments, but also on the back of it. It's warmly recommended. Okay, next question. How much plaque is removed with a power toothbrush? We know that with a manual toothbrush it was 42%, with a power toothbrush is it 46, 56, 66, or 76, 67, sorry, percent removed. This is a super good. What you see is that very often it says that a power toothbrush is more effective than a manual toothbrush. But if you look at the single brushing exercises where we evaluated the effect, the general effect of a manual toothbrush or a power toothbrush, we saw that for a manual toothbrush, it was 42%. For a power toothbrush, it was only 46%. And if you compare that to each other, that's not too much. But these were only single brushing exercises taking into account. And also you see that even if you have a power toothbrush, you need to educate your patient on how to use it. Then there is the next question. If we see the efficacy of this single brushing exercise, what is the efficacy in the long term on plaque removal and gingival reduction? If you compare power versus manual, is there no difference? Is there power significant more effective, or is manual more effective? Or you got confused a bit by the previous question. This is a dirty trick. What happens if you see this single brushing where only the power toothbrush or only the manual toothbrush was evaluated? There was not much difference. But when you look in the long term, so in the long term effect of toothbrushing, when you can also evaluate the gingivitis reduction, what you cannot evaluate in a single thing, because the gingiva will not improve after a single brushing exercise. What you see that in the long term, the power toothbrush is more effective. It's more effective in gingivitis reduction. And that most probably has to do with that if you every time reduces a bit more plaque than before, than with the manual toothbrush, in the end, you're reducing significant more plaque, what has an effect on the gingival reduction. So what you see is that there is still established, and that's done in several systematic reviews, also recently from 2 different groups in Canada. One is from the group from Alberta, and the other is from the group from McGill. And they both show that the power toothbrush is significantly more effective than a manual toothbrush when it comes to plaque removal and gingivitis reduction. When it comes to efficacy, the other question that is also, is it safe to use a toothbrush? And if you compare the safety of a toothbrush, you have to compare the power and the manual toothbrush to each other on the hard and the soft tissue. Is the manual safer than a power toothbrush? Is the power safer than a manual? There's no difference, or there is no scientific evidence for the toothbrushes on the soft and the hard tissues. Only 11, my. Those 11 had it well done. What you see is there are not too much research done on safety. We did a systematic review and we could include 22 studies evaluating power versus manual and their efficacy on hard and soft tissues. And what you see, there are different ways to score it. On the hard tissues, it was scored based on cast. So they took a cast, they let them brush in either power group or manual group, and after 3 years, they took a cast as well, and they could extract the 2 casts from each other to evaluate the effect on the hard tissues. if there were any differences on the hard tissues. Soft tissues is evaluated in two ways. It is evaluated as are there more recessions? They are just measured from the gingival margin up to the cemental enamel junction. And that is also, it doesn't exist in a short term. You really have to have long-term studies, very often a year or even up to 3 years. But what you see is that a lot of studies are evaluating, from those 22 studies, a lot of studies evaluated gingival abrasions. And gingival abrasions are when the first epithelial layer of the gingiva is a bit damaged. And that's something you can see if you use a dye, you know, a disclosing agent for your patient, and you don't use a pink one, but use a purple one, like my dress. If you use the purple disclosing agent, you put it on the mucosa of your patient, you can see if there are any damages on the mucosa. In particular, if, for example, if you eat those French hard rolls or bread, you know, those with a hard crusty layer, or for example, a pizza crust, those things really damage the gum. And the idea was, if you brush this with a powder or a manual toothbrushes and you damage your gum, it's a predictor for damage the soft tissue, for recessions. It's a predictor for recessions. So one of the things that has been done very often is evaluating if this gingival abrasions are more pronounced in the manual group or in the power group. You can measure them in length, so there is a description in how in small, medium size and large size lesions, and you can count the number of lesions. But based on the evaluation of cost, based on the evaluation of recessions, and based on the evaluation of gingival abrasions, we could conclude that there is no difference between manual and power toothbrushes. Both can cause a bit of damage if not well used, either on the hard or the soft tissues, but there is no significant difference. So both toothbrushes seems to be safe. Okay, then the most given recommendation in Western society is use twice a day a power toothbrush. But the question is this always a realistic option? Because you need to have the money for such a power toothbrush. And if what you see is that very often these manual toothbrushes are, if you use them well, you can come pretty close to the effect of a power toothbrush. So although from science perspective, a power toothbrush can be more effective, there's also room for still recommending manual toothbrushes, and in particular, if you serve a group who just cannot afford to buy a power toothbrush. So I'm absolutely not against a manual toothbrush. That's something I need to say. Okay, next question. We have only a couple of minutes left. If you brush with if you brush your teeth or you brush your teeth with a dentifrice, what is the effect? Do you what is the effect of a toothpaste on plaque removal? Listen to it, plaque removal. Do you remove more plaque with a dentifrice? Less plaque? There is no difference, or you have no idea. What is it? The trick in here is wording. I have a dentist who's 60 and he's allergic to the aerosols, what's coming from amalgam, but also for composite. So he cannot work in general practice anymore. So he starts to dig into research. And we gave him the topic of dentifrices. And what we did a systematic review where we evaluated if you brushes with a dentifrice compared to without a dentifrice. And what we found out that when it comes to pure plaque removal, based on 6 different studies, there is no difference in plaque removal if you use a toothbrush, a toothpaste, yes or no. So you can say, okay, brushing is more or less the same as brushing plus a dentifrice. But this is not the scientific message we like to give, because it's very important to say that when it comes to plaque removal is not a linear process. So you don't have 100% plaque, and if you brush, you will get 0% plaque. Just it's a matter of time, and it's a linear process. What we see is that most of the patients do not have 100% plaque, and if you brush, you brush away quite a lot, but the effect flattens out a bit due to the fact that people don't brush very optimal. So what we like to do is, what we tend to do is with our brushing instructions, we like to flatten the curve a bit more so that people will indeed remove more plaque. So this is what we try to do with our brushing instructions. But we also see that people don't brush enough or not long enough, and that you see that the effect is not as big as it should be. I think if we can enhance the brushing efficacy by enhancing the time and the quality, we will get close to 0. That's one of my things that I'm researching right now. But this is also what you see why most probably toothpaste was not effective. The majority of the effect is come from the mechanical issue and not from the toothpaste when it comes to plaque removal. So when we published this publication, and although in the discussion we really mentioned you should not brush without a dentifrice, the British Society of Periodontology really announced it loud that toothpaste is not a waste. And that's indeed absolutely correct, because toothpaste is a carrier. It's a kind of suitcase. It brings things into people's mouth, and it in majority plays into mouth the fluoride. Well, we all know it's very well established that if you brushes with a fluoride dentifrice, you have less caries. So there is no doubt you should brush with a toothpaste with a fluoride. But when we go into detail to dentifrices, then another aspect comes up, and that's plaque regrowth. Plaque regrowth, although if we polish a mouth of a patient very carefully, it is not that it's a linear process. The plaque will not grow linearly. It starts a bit slow in the beginning, but after a while, it grows tremendously. So what we like to know, what happens with the plaque if you use a dentifrice? Does it slow down the regrowth of the plaque? And that's what we did a study with Case, my PhD student, a dentist who cannot work as a dentist anymore. And what we did is we evaluated some of the toothpastes. One of the toothpastes that was most sold, but unfortunately not on the market anymore due to environmental reasons, is triclosan. Triclosan was an ingredient that was highly effective, more effective to a sodium fluoride toothpaste when it comes to plaque inhibition, but also when it comes to gingival health. The same is with stannous fluoride. Stannous fluoride is an ingredient. It's another combination of fluoride and sodium fluoride, and it will inhibit plaque better, significantly better than sodium fluoride, and it also will reduce the bleeding tendency of the gum and the gingival index. So stannous fluoride is significantly more effective than a sodium fluoride. when you compare triclosan and stannous fluoride, what was a big thing a couple of years, because these two are the main brands, premium brands available worldwide, we showed that there is no difference between the two ingredients. But currently only stannous fluoride is available. Another product that is incorporated in a lot of dentifrices, that's sodium bicarbonate. Sodium bicarbonate is also more effective than sodium fluoride when it comes to plaque inhibition and when it comes to obtaining gingival health. So when you discuss dentifrices, these are the three dentifrice ingredients that have been studied very thoroughly. They're all, compared to a sodium fluoride, they're all more effective than a sodium fluoride. There is no difference between triclosan and stannous fluoride. Stannous fluoride and triclosan, that's not too much studied compared to sodium bicarbonate, but it seems that they both are a slight more effective than the sodium bicarbonate. So when we come to the discussion on dentifrices, it's very important to advise fluoride dentifrices. You can say also that a triclosan or stannous fluoride have a slight more effect when it comes to plaque inhibition and obtaining more obtaining gingival health, although triclosan is not on the market anymore, so it's only the stannous fluoride. One of the questions that's very often asked by patients when it comes to dentifrices is, okay, and what is the effect of whitening toothpaste? So that's my question, my last question to you. What is the effect of a whitening toothpaste? Is that not significant with a regular fluoride toothpaste, or significant more effective on whitening, or there is an option 3, whatever it is? Got you. Only 30. The effect of a whitening toothpaste is always a big debate. So what I did a study with my students, and I will explain you that in a second. I will first let's show you who is the winner of the quiz. So I hope that winner is among the 13. Okay, let's go. Sino, are you still on top? Oh, I'm a bit afraid. Drian is the winner. Hooray, hooray. Drian, make yourself noticeable. Who are you? Lida, can you please help me?
It's me, it's me, it's me.
Oh, congratulations, you're super.
Thank you. I think
make yourself noticeable. Oh, I see you. Are you the professor at the university?
No, I'm just a junior staff.
You're great. You won. You beat them all. Now you have to offer your opposition.
Maybe the other ones are not answering.
That says also something, but I'm super proud of you. Dita will know your name and I will send you the cookies. I promised you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us. Okay, now I'll explain about the whitening toothpaste if you don't mind. Thank you. Okay, if you evaluated a whitening toothpaste, you do that on 2 different things. You do that on the intensity of the color. So if studies are run, and then you evaluated the intensity of the color on the tooth. It's an extrinsic color, the coloring, what you evaluated, from white up to yellow to light and up to dark brownish. That's the intensity. That's one part of the score. The other thing what is scored in whitening toothpaste is that you have the area from there is no discoloration up to there is a lot of discoloration so area-wise. Both are scored, and you can also score a composite score. And what we have seen that if you compared, if you use the intensity score, if you use the area score, or you use the composite score, if you evaluated whitening dentifrices compared to a standard regular fluoride toothpaste, a whitening dentifrice is effective in order to obtain whiter teeth. That was studied by a hygienist, Deborah Suterman. It's published as well. What we tried also to have a look on the different brands or the different ingredients. Is it ingredient more based on abrasive? Is it an ingredient based on chemical therapeutic reasons? But we could not find what was the most effective, as long the majority of toothpaste will mention, I have a whitening claim. If you evaluate it comparing to a regular fluoride toothpaste, they are effective. So we could not say it's a specific ingredient. So I gave you some information based on a quiz. I wish you very well to make your own evidence-based decision in advising your patients by your clinical expertise you have gained during your studies and for those who are working during your career, but also with what the patients want. Nowadays, a lot of people have their mobile phone. A lot of people have their own ideas about what they want. They want this, or they don't want that, or they cannot afford a power toothbrush, for example. You have the evidence. I showed you some of the evidence when it comes to very primary things on dental hygiene, what I have studied with the group I'm working in, and you have the available tools. We don't have much more than a toothbrush, a dentifrice, interdental devices, and mouthwashes for the patients. New develops are coming up, but not yet. So based on these 4 aspects, you have to discuss with your patient what is the best for your patient. And that seems that it is never one size fits all. I really like you to thank you for the invitation. I sent you warm greetings from the Netherlands, although we will get freezing cold and snow even up here. If I see the short sleeves some people in Indonesia can wear because there is a nicer temperature. If there are any questions, any raising hands about one of the topics here or one of the topics I did not address, I'm more than happy to help you forward. Thank you, Dita, again for the invitation. Thank you for participating in the quiz. I hope this is a bit of a different interaction than a regular lecture to spread the word only and not participating as a listener.
Thank you very much, Professor Dagmar. Okay, well, for all participants, I would like to invite all of you to give or to raise your hand if you have any questions about what Dagmar already presented for all of you. Is there any questions?
Here's a message. How about the efficacy of toothpaste with detergent compared to non-detergent? That's a, do you mean, I don't know, Panita? Henry Susanto. I know Henry.
Yeah.
Robin. Hey, Henry.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi, Prof.
I recognize the name. Sorry that I did it too late. Sorry. Henry did, I will explain the others. Henry did a PhD in Groningen. And when he was doing the PhD, he was making a systematic review, and I helped him from a distance with doing the doing the systematic review. What was only a small part of his PhD, actually, so very small. So, but I always have his name in my mind, Henry. So he's what I'm if you do PubMed, he is still on my list. So I'm always very thankful for the collaboration.
Thank you very much, Professor.
When you discuss detergents, do you mean SLS containing or non-SLS containing dentifrices?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. There is more and more discussion about the use of SLS, also in the light of people get allergic reactions. People who don't want to use any SLS. There are some SLS-free dentifrices available. It's not studied in a systematic review. There are some studies evaluating SLS containing compared to non-SLS containing dentifrices. What you see that SLS very often provides the foaming effect, and on a clinical base, so in removing plaque or plaque inhibition or obtaining gingival health, there's not too much difference between SLS or no SLS. But when it comes to patients' experience, so how they like the toothpaste, the majority of people like to have a foaming toothpaste. So what you see is that a lot of companies who have SLS in their products, they are doing quite a lot of tests to get a product without SLS, but still with a bit of foaming, because people like the foaming experience. I think that the non-SLS group will grow, and there will be technologies to get a bit of foaming in the future. But it's an interesting topic, the detergents and how that will move on. Also, like triclosan, that it will be maybe even banned in some countries from the market. The next question is from Indriani Galu Adrani. I will most probably pronounce it awful, but that's not on purpose. Is activated charcoal effective in plaque removal and safe enough for daily base? I did not put in charcoal, but I can tell a bit of it. Professor Brooks from university in the US, I don't know his name, he published, I think 2 years ago, a systematic review where he evaluated charcoal dentifrices. The studies on charcoal dentifrices are not there are only a few. I do it by my heart. It's 5 studies published on charcoal dentifrices. What you see from the studies on charcoal, that some studies are not even having a dentifrice, but really the coal from an old fire used on a toothbrush. And that's very abrasive. So the charcoal formulated in a dentifrice is not so very well studied. What they see is that it's on majority very abrasive, and it was tested on caries reduction, and that was not the case. What this professor also did, so he did a systematic review, and what he also did, and that was really interesting, there was another publication from him, Professor Brooks is his name. You can find it on PubMed, and it's published in the Journal of American Dental Association. He ordered from Amazon and Google 50 different charcoal dentifrices. And these different charcoal dentifrices, he evaluated about 2 facts. Is there anything mentioned if it's safe? So is there do they apply to the limit of abrasiveness? So what all premium brands are doing, and what all toothbrushes which are put officially on the market, because if you buy via Amazon and Google, you can also buy the non-official products. And he evaluated if there was fluoride in it. And he ordered 50 different brands. And what he found out, that out of these 50, the majority did not mention anything on abrasiveness, what I think is painful. But even worse, only 8 out of these 50 contains fluoride. So what he said, back in the 60s or so, a charcoal dentifrice company already asked for permission for the American dentist certificate as a good, well searched product. What was denied? He said it's even worse if you brush with a charcoal dentifrice, and in particular when it doesn't contain fluoride, you bring your teeth at risk. So he recommends dental care professionals not to recommend a charcoal dentifrice. Then there is the question from Sri Budi Buranawati. Budi Buranawati. Oh, sorry for my pronunciation. What is the effective toothpaste from the patient with xerostomia? That's not my typical field. I will tell you what I know. Patients with xerostomia sometimes also have very sensitive mucosa. And some of the ingredients, like a detergent like SLS, or for instance, when it's very minty, it's not nice for those patients in their mouth. So I think you should really search for an individual base what fits to the person, because that can be diverse a bit person by person. Very minty is not an option. And there are some premium brands having a suggestion that they are specifically for patients with xerostomia, but in the end, the xerostomia will not be solved by a dentifrice. It should be a dentifrice that contains fluoride. What I think that's the most important of it when it comes to a patient with xerostomia. And what you also see that patients with xerostomia have often also more gingivitis. So I can imagine that a product, for instance, with stannous fluoride can also be effective, but what we know from a lot of products with stannous fluoride, it also contains product that maybe can initiate a bit of irritation. So really search for it on an individual basis. Lisdriano Hanidrito, okay. Does the angle of the toothbrush grip shrink have an effect on the plaque removal action? So you mean the head of the toothbrush and the handle? If there is, so far I know that's not studied. It is studied, the angle is studied when it comes to interdental brushes. So if a straight brush or an angled interdental brush is more effective, but for a toothbrush, I don't know. There has been, the premium brands do quite a lot of research whether people like a grip. So what you see that the very cheap toothbrushes have just a handle that is straightforward plastic, but what you see that some of the more expensive brands have things with filaments or with where you can put your thumb a bit better. That's that has been done, and that's the same, for instance, with colors based on consumer preferences. But so far I know there is no research done on the effect of the angle on plaque removal capacities. It's only on consumer if they like it, yes or no. If you like my purple dress, yes or no. You know, that's that kind of research. Siti Sunaritias, sorry, oh my gosh. We have brushed the teeth. Do we need a mouthwash? Do we need a mouthwash? Mouthwash is another hour. A mouthwash will never ever replace mechanical plaque removal. Mechanical plaque removal is a toothbrush and an interdental device. What you see that some of your patients, and that's also depending on your evidence-based decision, that some of your patients need a bit of extra. So they don't have enough on a regular toothbrush with a regular fluoride toothpaste, and for instance, interdental brushes or wood sticks or whatsoever. They need something extra. This extra you can give with a toothpaste, what they already use, or even another extra with a mouthwash. When it comes to a mouthwash, chlorhexidine is a product that's well known, but that's not for the long term. What you see is that chlorhexidine is only for short notice. When it comes to a short-term product for a long-term product like a mouthwash to support brushing, the products you can consider is an essential oil. I don't like to discuss brands, but an essential oil is Listerine. What is a formula that it's fixed. Another product, what is seeing the market more often, that's acetylpyridine chloride. That also has an additional effect, not to the extent of an essential oil. But I don't say everybody needs a mouthwash, but on indication, based on your evidence-based decision, as a mouthwash is not cheap at all. Christiana, thank you for the compliment. Does toothbrushing methods such as Bath method, rolling have an effect on plaque removal action? This is something of my interest as well. What you see is that the most recommended is the Bath method, and that's based on research that it is more effective than the rolling or the singular. What we see this is really old research. This is research from the 60s and the 70s when we decided as dental care societies to recommend the Bath method. So that's the Bath or the modified Bath are the 2 methods that are currently considered as the most effective. Lisiandro, thank you well for the answer, Prof. Okay, Yumi, and then a very difficult after. I don't even dare to try. Are we supposed to brush our teeth right after eating, or do we have to wait some time for brushing our teeth? I think what we know, if we eat, we get the pH will go down. This pH down will. There is a discussion how long that will be. Now, on average, if you go to the what was his name? Keys. I'm trying to find it. I said it this week. Stefan's curve. When this is not my daily knowledge. When you eat something within half an hour, within a couple of minutes, the pH will go down very quickly, and then it goes back to the old system. Stefan's curve says it's 30 minutes. There is some research done by biochemists at the moment. They say that it even takes a bit longer, maybe even up to a day. So that's the reason we say to people, please don't extend your eating moments after 7. While you have breakfast, you have lunch, and you have your dinner, and then you have 3-4 other moments where you can drink or eat something. So we say it up to 7 eat or drinking moments. So what we know, if you eat something, at least half an hour should be wait before you start brushing. And that's something we have to tell to patients. What we see very often, that people want to do very well, so they eat something and think, oh, I need to brush. In particular, those perio patients, because perio patients want to do very good, and they overact in these kind of things. So that's something for the group to mention. Henry, thank you. It was nice seeing you. And I don't know the abbreviation DRG, but Noor Rahman. And someone else, Noor Ahmad Senyo I. And then I think it's a clarification of the profession. Professor Dagmar, thank you for the nice interactive pages. How we can find the correct pressure of toothbrushing. That's a good one. When you have a power toothbrush, a lot of effort is nowadays put on this power control. So you have a little light. But that's only for power toothbrushes. What we need to teach our patients when it comes to manual toothbrushes is that we should learn patients not to to take the toothbrush as they take to open the door, you know, the grip to open the door. We should teach them that we should keep the toothbrush like a pencil, because if you use it like a pencil, you cannot press too hard like you do like this. So that's one of the things. Teach your patients to brush like a pencil. It's not science, it's not scientific, but this is what I teach my patients in the past, because this is too easy. The pressure is too easy compared to this. So this is my practical advice. Are there any more questions?
I guess no more questions, Professor Dagmar, and also time is off.
Okay, time is off. Okay.
Oh, no. Once again, still another questions? Oh, no. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, do you have any remarks, Professor, or any a message for all of us in this meeting?
I think you do. I'm absolutely surprised about how good some of the answers you did, much better than Western society. What I think that strengthens me, that Western society has sometimes some stupid thoughts, and I always like to contribute to international collaborations, and I'm super thankful that for the invitation and for so many people who attend, and for the number of questions raised, and maybe one day we will meet again.
Thank you very much. So I would like to have a remark that in doing evidence-based practice, we should integrate the evidence, our clinical expertise, the available tools, and for sure, the patient's value. So please keep in mind that we should follow the updated science and recharge ourselves with respect to our patients in our everyday life as professional. Thank you very much, Professor Dagmar. Also, for all the participants for very warm and active discussions. I would like to close this afternoon sessions. Thank you very much for your participations, and forgive me if I am not dealing up properly with these sessions, and I would like to give back and the screen to the master of a ceremony.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dita and Prof. Dagmar, for very interesting lecture and discussion. Let's move to the next agenda. We would like to invite the head of the dental hygiene program, Professor Dr. Regina Titi Kristinawati Tandelilin, DDS Master of Science PBO, to present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Dita and Prof. Dagmar, followed by giving the closing remarks. Prof. Regina, please.
Okay, sorry, thank you. First of all, I would like to thank you for the time and opportunity that was given to me. And good evening to everyone who is attending this online seminar. Of course, my best wishes to you all is to stay strong and healthy at unprecedented times like this, especially to Prof. Dagmar. So, I think we have to give Dr. Dagmar a warm round of applause again. You have given a very useful and insightful information to us in the midst of your busy work. You are willing to share your knowledge through a great and interesting presentation, Dr. Dagmar. So as the head of dental hygiene program, and also I represent the Dean of the Faculty of Dentistry of Universitas Gadjah Mada, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude and appreciation towards you. So, Dr. Dagmar, during a great opportunity like this, we would like to hand you a certificate to recognize you as an expert expert as a speaker, and especially your sharing about the experiences from the Netherlands, which was so wonderful. That was about evidence-based approach of oral disease prevention. Thank you very much. And during a great opportunity like this, we would like to also say something to Dr. Dita. We know that Dr. Dita actually the wife of the winner, Prof. Dagmar. You remember the winner of the is the she is the wife of him. So that's very
But she
okay.
did she gave the answers?
No.
Yeah, this is really surprising. So, and now turn to well-known Dr. Elastria Vidita as Dr. Tita. Yeah, Dr. Tita, there is nothing else that I can say to express how grateful I am for your presence in this second online seminar series of our dental school anniversary program as a moderator. You had given us solid introduction and interesting discussion too that truly captures our attention. So thank you so much for your role and amazing effort. So for this reason, Dr. Tita, I would like to hand you a certificate to recognize you as a moderator as well as my gratitude towards your contribution in our event, especially with your network and your communication skills have successfully invited Dr. Dagmar as a speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, and to everyone who are watching this event at different parts of Indonesia, I would like to thank you for being with us and turn this online seminar series program into a very successful event. Of course, I would like to apologize if there is any inconvenience caused throughout the event. As such, and therefore, by the grace of Almighty God, I state that this event is done. And before, I would like to pass on my time back to Dr. Eva as the wonderful master of ceremony. Please let me to express my appreciation and heartfelt thankfully to all committee members for their hard work to make this event. Thank you so much. Okay, I return to you, Dr. Eva.
Terima kasih kepada kami ucapkan kepada Prof. Regina. Kami ingatkan kepada seluruh peserta untuk dapat mengerjakan post-test paling lambat hingga pukul 8 malam ini. Link akan dikirimkan pada kolom chat. Selanjutnya sesuai janji saya di awal tadi untuk menambah kemeriahan dan semangat di sore hari ini, kami akan membagikan beberapa door prize kepada para peserta yang bergabung di ruang Zoom pada sore hari ini. Mohon bantuan panitia untuk dapat melakukan pengundiannya. Dimohon kepada peserta yang beruntung nanti untuk dapat merespon dengan mengaktifkan fitur audio dan videonya. Kami akan beri waktu selama 10 detik. Jika tidak ada respon, maka kesempatan akan diberikan kepada peserta yang lain. Untuk yang sesi pertama pemutaran, ada 2 mug cantik dari Bank Tabungan Negara, dari Bank BTN. Kemudian ada clutch dari Bank BTN. Ada batik, dan ada double wall mic. Silahkan. Iya. Kepada Saudara Ami Jufika Rusgiharti. Silahkan kami mulai hitungannya ya. 10 detik, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oke, teng tong. Next, mari kita putar lagi undiannya. kepada Dr. Gigi Seli Juleta. Bisa untuk mengaktifkan audio dan videonya, dokter? Kita hitung.
Hadir.
Yeay, terima kasih. Selamat dokter Leta. Ya.
Dokter Iva.
Selanjutnya, silakan diputar kembali undiannya. Ya, selamat kepada Dr. Gigi Ratih Prihatini. Silakan Dr. Gigi Ratih Prihatini untuk mengaktifkan fitur audionya. Saya hitung dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8.
Ada.
Iya, selamat dokter. Selanjutnya untuk yang ketiga di sesi pertama. Ya, selamat kepada Dr. Gigi Kristina Ana Krisanti. Kami hitung ya dokter dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Iya dok, ada dok.
Iya, selamat dokter. Selanjutnya untuk yang terakhir di sesi pertama. Selamat kepada Dr. Gigi Niken Andini. Silakan Dr. Gigi Niken dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ya, sayang sekali belum beruntung. Silakan diputar lagi panitia. Untuk yang terakhir di sesi 1. Iya, wah panjang. Selamat kepada Saudara Resti Salvia Orpala Rospan Avandi Purwana. Silahkan dinyalakan untuk fitur audionya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali belum beruntung. Diputar lagi tolong. Nanti lagi. Ya, selamat kepada Dr. Gigi Dia Swasti Paramita. Silakan dokter untuk dinyalakan fitur audionya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, Mbak Mita. Selanjutnya.
Ya toh, banyak yang...
Ya, selamat kepada Ika Rosina. Saya hitung dalam hitungan 10.
Hadir,
9. Ya, selamat. Selamat dokter.
Terima kasih
Selanjutnya untuk yang sesi kedua ada gift voucher Superindo senilai 100.000 persembahan dari Bank BNI Kantor Cabang Utama UGM.
Maaf,
yang
dokter.
sesi pertama tadi ya, Prof ya.
Maaf, itu bukan voucher ya, berbeda ya artinya ya.
Iya, gift cards. Ya,
Beda.
maaf. Gift cards. Jadi tidak harus habis ya, tidak hangus ya, Prof.
Ya, selama setahun jadi bisa dipakai untuk bolak-balik.
Ya,
tapi kalau voucher kan sekali
Superindo.
belanja habis ya.
Betul.
Dari BNI.
Untuk mengingatkan kembali tadi untuk yang sesi pertama hadiah persembahan dari Bank BTN dan dari PSAG. Kemudian bisa dilihat nanti pengambilan bisa dilakukan mulai hari Senin tanggal 8 Februari selama 1 minggu ya. Untuk pemenang sesi pertama tadi bisa menghubungi admin PSAG Mbak Kona. Selanjutnya untuk yang sesi kedua yang tadi telah disebutkan gift card Superindo senilai 100.000 persembahan dari Bank BNI Kantor Cabang Utama UGM bisa dimulai diputar pengundiannya, Mbak Kona.
Dr. Iva,
Iya, Prof.
Maaf, ini jadi di sesi kedua ini ada 10 lembar, 5 dari BNI A100.000 dan 5 berupa e-money dari Bank Mandiri. Jadi sama nilainya.
Oke. Ya, ada senilai Rp100.000 untuk masing-masing pemenang. Untuk Dr.
Ya.
Gigi Citra Ayu Widowati.
Adik kelasku Citra Ayu.
Silakan Dr. Gigi Citra untuk dapat mengaktifkan filter audionya. Dr. Gigi Citra, dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, belum beruntung. Dilanjutkan lagi pemutarannya, Mbak Funa. Ya, Dr. Dewi. Selamat kepada Dr. Dewi. Dr. Dewi bisa mengaktifkan dulu, dokter. Dalam hitungan 10.
Halo, Iva.
Yeay, selamat Dr. Dewi.
Ya.
Itu bisa diambil di bawah.
Terima kasih ya,
Dok.
Ya.
Lanjut.
Selanjutnya, Mbak Mona. Ya, selamat kepada Mbak Rizky Prihastuti. Apakah bisa mengaktifkan audionya, Mbak Rizky? Dalam hitungan. Oke, selamat. Lanjut. Ya, kami sampaikan selamat kepada Kuroti Ayun. Apakah bisa mengaktifkan? Dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, bisa diputar lagi pengundiannya, Mbak Funa. Oh iya, selamat kepada Bapak Prayuda Beni Setiawan. Nah, apakah bisa mengaktifkan Bapak Beni dalam hitungan 10, 9,
Terima kasih, Dr. Iva.
8. Oke, selamat. Selanjutnya, Mbak Funa. Selamat kepada Muhammad Fahmi Alfian. Apakah bisa menyalakan fiturnya audionya? Saya hitung dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Sore, Dok.
Sore, selamat nih Bapak Saudara Muhammad Fahmi Alfian. Selanjutnya Mbak Funa. Ya, selamat kepada Ibu Bekti Nuraini. Apakah bisa mengaktifkan audionya? Siap. Terima kasih,
Dr. Iva.
Ibu Bekti. Berikut tadi menang yang mendapatkan gift card Superindo senilai 100.000 persembahan dari Bank BNI. Kemudian ini ada selamat kepada Nia Puspita Ningrum. Selanjutnya untuk Imoni senilai 100.000 persembahan dari Bank Mandiri. Apakah bisa
Terima kasih, dokter.
Oke, selamat kepada Nia Puspita Ningrum. Kemudian selanjutnya, Mbak Fona. Ya, selamat kepada Putu Palupi Dian Mayangsari. Kami tunggu responnya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7.
Ada, Dok.
Oke, selamat, dokter. Selanjutnya. Loh, saya sendiri. Saya merespon ini bagaimana, Prof. Regina? Prof. Regina?
It's okay.
It's okay, oke. Terima kasih, Prof. Regina.
Oh ya, no problem.
Terima kasih. Selanjutnya. Ya, selamat kepada Adiba Febriza Valentina. Apakah bisa merespon dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Hadir, dokter.
Oke, selamat. Ya, selanjutnya Mbak Fona, satu lagi ya terakhir ya untuk yang Imani untuk sesi ini. selamat kepada Feni Restianita Pratiwi. Akan merespon dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, bisa diputar kembali Mapona. Ya, selamat kepada Sri Dewaningsih, Saudara Sri Dewaningsih. Mohon merespon dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, diputar lagi Mbak Fona. Selamat kepada Wirasti Tamsil. Mohon merespon dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, adakah? 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tidak ada? Ya, diputar kembali Mbak Fona. Ya, selamat kepada Dr. Yilike Rosita Dwi Susanto. Mohon merespon dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Iya, hadir.
Ya, selamat Mbak Like. Selamat Dr.
Ya,
Like.
makasih.
Ya, berikut tadi merupakan gift cards dan senilai 100.000 dan imbauan senilai 100.000 dari Bank BNI dan dari Bank Mandiri. Selanjutnya untuk sesi yang terakhir ada gift card Superindo senilai 200.000 persembahan dari Bank BNI kantor cabang utama. Silakan Mbak Fona. Ya, selamat kepada Intan Putri Yudanti. Mohon mengaktifkan audionya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, belum beruntung. Dilanjutkan kembali, Mbak Fona. Ya, selamat kepada Arif Zuama Dwitani. Silakan mengaktifkan dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tidak ada, sayang sekali. Gift card senilai 200.000 dari Bank BNI kantor cabang utama UGM. Selamat kepada Widya Liani Teresia. Akan mengaktifkan fitur audionya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Tidak ada juga.
Oh.
Kemana ini, Prof? Ya?
Nggak apa-apa, ini ada 5 loh ya.
Oh, Prof, ada 5 masing-masing.
Saya mau loh ini kalau dapat.
Iya, selamat kepada Dr. Gigi Mulyati. Dr. Gigi Mulyati, mohon mengaktifkan audionya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Putar lagi Mbak Ona. Ya, selamat kepada I Gusti Agung Ayu Pradipta Lestari. Mohon untuk menyalakan fitur audionya dalam hitungan
Hadir.
Ya, selamat datang. Senilai Rp200.000. Silakan dilanjutkan.
Terima kasih, Dokter.
Selamat kepada Saudara Sawitri Trisnaning Tias. Mohon diaktifkan dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, hangus dilanjutkan Mbak Fona. Masih ada 4 gift card Superindo senilai masing-masing Rp200.000. Selamat kepada Dr. Gigi Fitria Nuraini. Mohon maafkan audionya Dokter dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali, diputar kembali Mbak Fona. Ya, selamat kepada saudara Suci Bonowati. Mohon maafkan audionya dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, selanjutnya Mbak Fona.
Sabar.
Selamat
Ya,
kepada
ada tadi Dokter Suci.
Dokter
Dokter Suci
Suci.
Bonawati.
Ada.
Ya, ada.
Oh,
Ya,
ada.
Dokter.
Oke.
Ya, Dokter, selamat.
Oke, terima
Nggak apa-apa ya,
kasih.
Prof.
Nggak apa-apa. Oke.
Ya, selamat. Selanjutnya Dokter Gigi Novia
Gini.
Trihasana. Dokter Gigi
Adakah?
Novia Trihasana, saya hitung dalam hitungan 10, 9,
Halo,
8.
Mana? Ada.
Ada. Oh ya, siap. Terima kasih. Selamat Dokter. Selanjutnya Mbak Fona.
Terima kasih, Dok.
Oke. 2 lagi ya Mbak Fona ya. Selamat kepada Nur Haza Ayuni binti Cehalin.
Ya, terima kasih, Dok.
Oh, selamat. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Terakhir. Satu lagi untuk
Come on,
gift
the last.
cards. Wah, Prof. Regina masih menunggu-nunggu ini.
Oh iya, of course.
Oh,
Pak
Prof. Wiji ya ini.
Iya, ada nggak?
Oke, kita hitung ya Prof. Wiji dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sayang sekali Prof. Wiji. Diputar kembali Mbak Fona. Terakhir untuk gift card senilai Rp200.000, gift card Superindo dari Bank BNI. Selamat kepada Melati Asriningpuri. Melati Asriningpuri, saya hitung dalam hitungan 10.
Ada. Nggak ada di partisipan.
Hah? Nggak ada?
Hah?
Ada nggak ada, Dok?
Nggak ada, Dok. Di
Oh, nggak
partisipan
ada.
nggak ada.
Oh, next. Lanjut. Mbak Fona, satu kali lagi. Ya, selamat kepada Andini Budi Rahmadianti. Andini Budi Rahmadianti, mohon merespon dalam hitungan 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mbak Fona.
Ada.
Oh, ada.
Ada di partisipan ada coba. Beliau
Oke.
ada.
Tapi dia
Tapi
ada
udah nggak
Iya.
nyaut 10
Udah
detik.
nggak ada ya?
Nyaut. Dr. Gigi Vima Naritosari MDSC. Apakah bisa merespon?
dong.
Oke, selamat Dr. Gigi Vima.
Wah, Neng
Sudah
Topi.
semua berarti ya.
Ya, oke.
Semangat
Terima
dong,
kasih.
hadiah semangat. Makasih.
Selamat berikut tadi merupakan gift card Superindo senilai Rp200.000 masing-masing persembahan dari Bank BNI Kantor Cabang Utama UGM. Ya, selamat sekali lagi kepada para peserta yang berhasil mendapatkan door prize. Door prize dapat diambil di ruang PSHG FKG UGM mulai hari Senin 8 Februari 2021 selama 1 pekan pada jam kerja hingga 15 Februari 2021. Lebih lanjut dapat menghubungi admin PSHG Mbak Fona di nomor 0856 4388 6212. Sebelum kita mengakhiri, ya nanti ada di akhir diputarkan,
Oke.
Prof. Tenang saja.
Ya,
Sebelumnya,
sure. Kasihan yang
sebelum
ya,
kita
oke.
mengakhiri acara sore ini, mari kita berfoto bersama. Kepada seluruh peserta diharapkan untuk mengaktifkan kamera dan standby agar dapat terdokumentasi dengan baik. Kepada panitia dimohon untuk bersiap mengcapture setiap layar. Kami mulai pengambilan pada layar pertama. Dalam hitungan 1, 2, 3. Layar kedua. 1,
Di layar
2,
Iya.
3. Senyum aja terus, Prof. Layar
Orang
ketiga.
kita aku senyum dan tidak
1,
sama aja.
2, 3. Selanjutnya layar keempat. 1, 2, 3, kemudian layar ke-5, 1, 2, 3, layar ke-6,
Berapa
1,
ini?
2, ada 8 Prof, 3,
Oke.
layar ke-7, 2 lagi, 1, 2, 3, terakhir layar ke-8, 1, 2, 3. Oke, baik, terima kasih banyak. Sekali lagi kami ingatkan bahwa post-test akan ditutup pada pukul 8 malam nanti. Tibalah di penghujung acara, kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada seluruh pembicara, moderator, dan peserta yang telah berpartisipasi aktif. Terima kasih kepada seluruh rekan panitia yang telah mengatur jalannya online di series kedua pada hari ini, serta pihak-pihak lain yang tidak dapat kami sebutkan satu persatu. Semoga menjadi ilmu yang bermanfaat. Saya selaku perwakilan panitia mohon maaf atas kekurangan dan kesalahan selama berjalannya rangkaian online di series kedua. Akhir kata, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Have a good day and have a nice weekend. Sampai jumpa di online di series selanjutnya.
Thank you, Prof. Dagmar. Hope to see you again. Professor Dagmar, we are finished with our session. Are you still there?